Okay, last Sunday I played a game of Warhammer 40,000 and I used this set of scenery. All kind of overgrown jungle, old ruins, trees, lots of kind of natural stuff. And it was very cool. I very much enjoyed it and I plan on playing my next kind of couple of 40k games based on this kind of setup. Deep jungle, kind of forgotten buildings, that kind of thing. But obviously these buildings are not like bespoke for that. I just pulled out some old pre-made runes from like wargame.ae or whatever. So I wanted to make something a little bit more specific to the jungle style board. And that's where this stuff came in. So this is old 2nd edition style scenery made by Dr. Spork, I believe his name is, on Cult. I will link him down below. He's an absolutely incredible designer who's making a lot of 2nd edition buildings. Lots of orc stuff, lots of imperial stuff, some old fantasy stuff. They're absolutely fantastic. And I've started to print off some of his stuff. So one of the first things we did is the original old outpost. So if you recognize this, this is actually old cardboard scenery originally, and he has since redesigned it to be kind of printable and made in plastic and stuff like that. And then the old fuel depot, which back in the day, this was a scratch built piece of scenery. Used to use like a big Coke can and just like make the rest out of like cardboard and stuff like that. So obviously made it once again a 3D file. So I've printed that out. Then some walls and barricades. And I thought this kind of scenery, like a forgotten outpost deep in the jungle as a setting, I think would be absolutely fantastic. So that is what I'm going to base today's video on. I'm going to paint up the outpost, which is one of my favorite pieces of scenery, and I'm going to paint it up to try and match the jungle theme and aesthetic. So an old forgotten outpost deep in a forgotten jungle that I think will be an excellent place to base a bunch of games on. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to seeing this become painted in today's video. So I think that is going to be a very fun video. And before we dive in and get started with that, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone there that continues to support the channel, either by watching any of the videos on my 3 channels, which is the Old World channel, the Middle Earth channel, or of course the main Mediocre Hobbies channel. You guys are all awesome. If you haven't checked out all those channels, please do make sure you go check them all out and subscribe to them all. If you enjoy the videos, make sure you're liking them. If you have any questions, make sure you're dropping comments. And yeah, anybody goes the extra mile and supports me over on Patreon. Of course, you guys are incredible and you keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. So I like to give something back to you guys, as well as giving you extra videos, extra content, podcasts, community showcases, and all sorts of other cool stuff over on the private Discord server. I like to do monthly giveaways. This month's giveaway is this. So if you're in the market for a World Eaters army, you want to get started, one lucky Patreon member is going to win this box set and have it shipped anywhere in the world straight to your front door. So if you want to be with a chance of winning, check out Patreon linked down below. Okay, let's dive in and get this outpost started. So this is the bunker in question. I just need to give 2 quick shout outs because there are 2 people that are responsible for this video being created. One is Miniscape. If you've never heard of the awesome creator Miniscape, I recommend you go and check out his channel. If you like kind of old school 2nd edition content, battle reports, awesome paintings, basically buildings, cool units. It's all kind of 2nd edition focused, and he does a really good job narrating it and painting up his models and stuff like that. So it's a very enjoyable channel to binge watch. I've been watching a lot of his videos over the last couple of weeks. And he did a video kind of 2 weeks ago on old nostalgic bunkers, and he showed off this particular model. And I just had to have it, so I immediately printed it. I wasn't particularly planning on doing a video on it, but then I played a battle report myself, like I talked about in the intro, and I decided I needed some more bespoke kind of forest-esque scenery, and I thought, why not use this for that? So like I said, Miniscape is the name of the channel. I will leave it linked down below. You can go check it out and subscribe if you are so inclined. And then, of course, the creator of this incredible file is, of course, Dr. Sporks on Cults 3D. I will also leave a link to his Cults 3D file. Now, very, very affordable files. I personally think he undercharges for his files, undervalues his work a little bit. It's only about €3 for each file, and a lot of work goes into the creation of them. I'd be happy for sure to pay a little bit more for his files. If it means that he gets to make more of them, that would be great. So like I said, check out his stuff. He's got a whole backlog of awesome kind of 2nd edition era buildings, scenery, and some vehicles and tanks and stuff like that as well. So yeah, go and check those 2 things out. Okay, as you can see, I've started off by spraying the entire building with a matte black coat of spray, and then I went in with kind of a sandy bone color to give myself just a little bit of volume in what I was painting. If I had have gone straight into that dark blue, which is the like traditional old school 2nd edition kind of color for these bunkers,
Over black, it would have just been super, super dark, and I wanted it to pop a little bit more than that. So I went for that kind of bone sandy color first. I went in with then that medium tone of blue. And then from there, obviously went into the highlight, aiming for more kind of central areas to really make it pop. Now, obviously, it being based on second edition designs, they didn't really go like crazy complicated with what they did. So I had to add a few features in myself with the painting just to make it kind of stand out and look a little bit more kind of exciting, if you will. So the first thing I did is I airbrushed in brown around all that buildup of soil, which I really like, by the way. I really like the idea of it having this mound of dirt around it. I don't think a lot of creators would have done that. They would have just left it as like a flat bottomed building. I think for what I want this to be, like I said, an outpost building built into like a jungle setting, an old forgotten outpost, I think this is perfect for that. So I really do kudos for that as an option. Now, the spray that I did of brown was just a base coat. After that, I did grab some brown textured paste and I stippled that in all the way around to obviously hide some of the seam lines from 3D printing. Obviously, they're very easy to hide on the tall buildings, but on the curved surface of the ground, it was a little bit noticeable. I really do need to switch to a 2mm hot end for my printer to hide those lines a little bit better. Unfortunately, the 401 just kind of sticks out a little bit. But also, when I was airbrushing around the brown on the dirt, I did airbrush all the walkways in brown as well, which means I could then go in and stipple Riser Rust orange paint in over all of those surfaces to give me the kind of the starting point for a nice rust. Like I said, this is supposed to be an old abandoned outpost, which has since been obviously reoccupied by some forces and is now being fought over. Whether something important was left behind or the position has become strategic again, I don't know. Whatever way I want to tell the story when I'm playing the game. When all the orange has been stippled in, obviously we go back over that with a light dry brush of a nice dark silver paint. This is Lead Belcher. And as you can see, as you dry brush over the stipple orange, the girders or kind of deck plating, if you will, does just look like really cool, worn, old, rusty. And it's just such a simple technique and it gives such a great result. While I had orange already on the palette, I dry brushed up all of the brown dirt with that orange as well. Riser Rust, I do it for all of my kind of brown bases. Some people think I'm crazy, but I think it leaves a really nice result. And most of this ground texture is going to get covered up anyway. This is just in case there's kind of a few bits poking through after the kind of foliage and flock that we're going to be putting on this. And then after that, we just give it a light dry brush of any kind of bone color that you like. And that will be the end of the kind of the soil texture for underneath the flock, like I said, and that we shall be doing. Super quick, super easy, super simple. Because easy and simple are, of course, two different things for some reason. Yeah. While I had the bone on my brush, I did quickly dry brush the edges of all the buildings as well, just to catch those edges and just sharpen up those details. It was just an after kind of thought that I did, kind of spurred the moment, an intrusive thought, if you will, but I think it worked out well. I used ancient gold now, which is basically that kind of green looking gold, and I went on and applied that to all of the Aquila symbols that exist all across the building. And then I cut out the transfers. Now, the Dr. Sporks has an awesome landing pad piece of scenery, who Miniscape has also done a video on, so you can go check that out if you want. And he talks about the whole history of the landing pad and where it came from, and how the landing pad itself was originally marked as number 42 in the Old White Dwarfs. So the designer, Dr. Sporks, put a 43 symbol on, or 41 into 42, I can't remember now. But obviously, if I'm going to print out the landing pad and have that as a central feature, and it's going to have 42 already pre-stamped on it, I decided to make the entire outpost be Outpost 42. Therefore, I grabbed loads of transfers of 4 and 2, and I stuck these across the outpost as well, the bunker. So all that scenery is going to match in, which I think is going to be really cool and really stand out. So I spent some time trying to find a bunch of different transfers and applying them all over. So a couple of 42 symbols, Mechanica symbol for the back, a danger warning across the door, which feels very kind of second edition. And that's about it, really. I used some of that moss from Dirty Down and fed that into some cracks and kind of recess anywhere water's going to pool against edges and stuff like that. And just once again, just adding an extra bit of spot color around the scenery just to make it pop a little bit more. After that, it was the time of the flock, and I did have some trouble with that because the first thing I decided to apply was the kind of sponge foliage stuff. And it's stuff that I honestly don't have a lot of experience with. I don't know the correct way of applying it. So I thought it was just like normal flock. So I started by applying a thick layer of PVA glue, but I think it was the wrong PVA glue. It's washable PVA glue, so maybe it wasn't as strong. When I came back later on, I used adhesive PVA glue. Not sure if they're different, but that felt stronger. But this washable PVA glue was not holding this stuff in place at all. I got it on as much as I could, and then I used the like a sealant spray over the top of it, which was supposed to hold it all in place. It didn't really work out how I wanted it to. Like I said, I wanted this to be an overgrown kind of jungle feeling building. This is how much foliage I put on, and this is me putting that sealant spray on. Like I said, a lot of it fell off during the night. Yeah, when I gave the building a good shake, because obviously I need to make sure that it's going to stay long term. A bunch more of it fell off. That's fine. I ended up, instead of trying to like put more of this back on, I decided to blend it into the scene with some actual standard static grass after that, which I think was the kind of stronger way to go. So this is the next day. It's as dry as it can be. I added more PVA glue, and then I just added quite a large quantity of flock on all the kind of gaps in the foliage. And these two things blended together and actually gave me the results that I was really quite happy with. And it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to have that whole like set of scenery that if I put into the middle of a green board with lots of foliage and trees and bushes and all that kind of stuff and played 40k on it, it would look right, it would feel right, and it would be great. Obviously 40k is traditionally played on deserts, or it's played on kind of grey urban boards, maybe some Martian boards. It's actually very rare for 40k to be played on green gaming mats with trees. That's always usually reserved for fantasy. Although if you read a lot of the Black Library novels, you'll know that a lot of fights and a lot of war zones happen in deep jungles and dense foliage. So I wanted to have a board kind of at my disposal ready to play those games. And here we have it, the final result of Outpost 42, currently being crewed by some brave members of the Cadian 8th, survivors of the breaking of Cadia. Like I said, really like the final result. I think it looks really cool. Cannot wait to do. I've already, like I said at the beginning, gotten the fuel station kind of already printed and ready to go, so maybe I'll do that one next. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you want to see me make more videos like this on the 2nd edition retro stuff, please do put it in the comments below, and I will do my very best to deliver those to you soon.